Time for the after show, and on this edition of the Improbability Engine after show, we're going to talk about guilty pleasures, focusing on television shows, movies, and songs. And I'll let Joe go first.
You know, anytime I think about guilty pleasures, it's stuff that I'm really, I don't tell everybody that I'm a fan of these things, but, I'll watch them if they're on. The first one that comes to mind are two TV shows. First one was Small Wonder. Now, Small Wonder was really cheaply made, just really not a great production quality. The story writing was terrible. The premise was a bit asinine. It really was a bad show. But it was about a family who creates a robot daughter. And so they have a robot daughter that they're trying to keep secret from the rest of the world. It's about as dumb as it sounds. But I'm here to tell you, if it came on, I would watch it. And what's funny is it was bad enough that, early in the mornings when TV stations would have time to fill, like Turner was big on it. They bought crappy television shows, and then they would put them someplace, and then they'd just run them at 2 o'clock in the morning. So, like, when I was a kid and get ready for school, you'd watch, Gilligan's Island, which is kind of dumb, but a great show. And then, as they were losing people, they would put in Small Wonder. And so I'd watch Small Wonder as I'm waiting for the school bus, and I really started to fall in love with the show. And it's not the brightest show in the world. It's pretty dumb, to be honest with you. Anybody who hasn't watched it, they have the pilot on YouTube. Watch that. Don't blame me whenever you go, I watched that. That's what I did for 30 minutes, was watch that show. Trust me, I know. I've been there. I've seen it. I understand. That's one of my guilty pleasures. What about you?
Well, TV shows, Lost in Space. I loved that show as a kid. It was my favorite show. I had a huge crush on Penny Robinson. I loved that show. And in retrospect, it was horrible. I've tried watching it since, and it's over the top campy at times, and it gets all the science wrong, but I still love it. The first time I ever cried at something I had seen on TV or at the movies was an episode of Lost in Space. There was this new robot called the Robotoid that could do all kinds of things.
God, that sounds so dumb. What?
That could do all kinds of things that the Robinsons robot couldn't do. And so the Robinsons robot was feeling down on himself and bad, and so he goes off and tries to kill himself. I felt so sorry for him. I cried and cried.
What was the name of the replacement robot?
Robotoid.
That's how bad that show is, because that's the worst robot name I've ever heard. It's terrible. All right, so my next guilty pleasure was actually a very successful TV show, but the fact that I know all the characters and I know all the storylines, and I've watched every single episode and the subsequent movies, I guess I'll call it a guilty pleasure. I could have walked away at any time, and I just chose not to. I blame myself, really. Sex and the City. It is a horrible show. It is the dumbest show I've ever seen in my entire life, and yet I've watched every single episode. Every single one. I know all the plot twists. I know the storylines. I don't know why, but it's there. And if it's on, my wife and I will watch it. And that's how sad and sick and depraved I've become, Will. Sex and the City. How did I ever fall so far?
Well, one of my favorite shows of all time, and I guess I'll call it a guilty pleasure, okay, although I would maintain it's one of the best TV shows ever made. But it's kind of a guilty pleasure because it's a chick flick kind of show. Ally McBeal.
Ally McBeal, another of the...
I love that show. The music on the show was awesome. Vonda Shepard would sing. Al Green was on at least one episode singing. They had the aging disco behemoth. And oh God, and I can't remember his name because I started laughing so hard. What Barry White?
Yeah.
Yes. And but the thing that made the show awesome was that in every episode there was some philosophical type issue that you could discuss afterwards, and I thought that made the show awesome.
If you were so inclined,
yes, it made it.
Which I hope not many did. Will's pointing to himself. Yeah, I know, I get it.
All
okay,
right.
So moving to movies. As a kid, as a child of the 90s, I was enthralled with the 90s action movies. Specifically, the movies of Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Jean-Claude Van Damme. Okay, I know how bad these movies are. There's some really bad movies. The worst of which is one that I count as a guilty pleasure because I would probably watch it now if it was on. Double Impact, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I remember that.
yeah. It was in theaters for like 48 seconds, and then they pulled it out. And I'm not sure that's the name of the movie, but I know that there was a movie. It's one of those movies where you watch it and you can almost quote it even though you've never seen it.
I
you know what
vaguely
I mean?
remember a Dennis Rodman quote about it being a foul or something like that.
Yeah, it was Double Team. Sorry, Double Team, not Double Impact. Double Team. Double Impact was the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie where he played twins. The only thing worse than one Jean-Claude Van Damme in a movie is two Jean-Claude Van Dammes in a movie. No, Double Team was... it was bad. It was so bad. It was so incredibly bad, Will. And I'd still watch it if it was on.
Okay. The movie that I'm about to talk about is so incredibly bad. It's called The Pirate Movie. It's from about 1982. It's a musical based on the Pirates of Penzance. But it stars a bunch of TV actors like Christy McNichol and other actors who just were not good on their TV shows. And so you watch it and there's never any suspension of disbelief. But for some reason, it's just great, despite being horrible.
It's so bad it's good.
It is.
It's so bad it's good, and I can appreciate
it. Just
that.
makes you feel good.
So I think we're projects of our time. I really truly believe that. We're enculturated at a certain point in our youth to be the type of person we are. Now, where we go from there is dependent upon choices we make and what we choose to do as we grow older. As a kid, we had cable television only sporadically, right? When we finally had cable at different points in our childhood, it was great. You'd watch movies on USA or on TNT or TBS or WGN, these superstation, that actually had stuff that they'd buy these really second-run movies and they'd play them a lot. So one of my guilty pleasures, Roadhouse, starring Patrick Swayze. Horrible movie.
Well, no.
It's so bad.
No, it's not.
It's so bad. It is so bad. The writing is bad. The acting is pretty bad.
It's vampires, right?
No.
Zombies?
Nope. No. You're thinking of a different movie, and that's actually a good one. Now, Roadhouse talks about Patrick Swayze, the bouncer for hire, gets hired by the guy who owns this honky tonk in Missouri that people are walking out, if people aren't dying, it's a good night. And he comes in and he cleans it up. And in the process of cleaning it up, he has to take on the guy who runs the town, this evil rich guy who puts everybody out of business and had people have to pay him money. And the business people are like, well, we don't want to do that. It's the worst movie ever, Will. It is so bad. So bad.
Rhinestone with Sylvester Stallone and Dolly Parton. Did you see that?
No, and I'm thankful because with that lineup, I don't know how it could. That might be worse.
Dolly Parton.
Roadhouse.
Dolly Parton works in a nightclub. Sylvester Stallone shows up, and he, it seems, is an aspiring country music singer because they get him up on stage and he sings, and they try to teach him how to sing, and he does this song called Drinkenstein, which at one point goes, Budweiser, you created a monster, and they call me Drinkenstein. And
that's really, really bad.
And he sings worse than I do, and I'm horrible, but it was basically appalling.
That's really, really.
Are we
really
ready
bad.
for songs?
Yeah, you can start with songs anytime you want. You go ahead. Start off with songs.
One of my favorite songs of the 70s.
Okay.
A Name Like Watermelon.
Never heard of it, and frankly, I don't know if I ever want to hear it because that's pretty bad sounding. This doesn't strike me as a top 10 Billboard hit.
Bobby Fuller. It was an awesome song. With a name like Watermelon, how'd you do?
Wow.
Pretty soon, everybody's going to be getting names like Apricot instead of Pam, and Cantaloupe instead of James.
You know what's really sad about that? For all the talk that we've had about that's a pretty strange kind of a concept. Right up until the point where you realize that Gwyneth Paltrow's kid's named Apple. And then all of a sudden you go, okay, you know what? That hits too close to home. I don't think I like it. I think we're going down the path of with a name like Watermelon was psychically ahead of its time.
There you go.
That's really bad. Okay, so my getting away from, I still have some other. There's so many guilty pleasures I could go through, but for music, there's a song. It's a one-hit wonder from the '90s. The name of the band is Len, Len, and the name of the song is "Steal My Sunshine."
Okay.
It is a horribly bad, great song. It reminds me of going and hanging out with my brother playing pool and knowing that the jukebox only had like 4 songs that were worth listening to, and they never updated it. So you'd play the same 4 songs, and we accidentally hit this song one time. And when we did, we're like, this song is terrible. And everybody hated it at the bowling alley. They hated it. So we played it all the time. We thought at first, hey, this will get people to, they'll update the jukebox if we play this song too much. And what instead happened was they just turned the volume down in the bowling alley section and kept it loud over the pool tables. And we just fell in love with the song. It is so horribly bad. It is awesome.
All right. And this song was actually listed as the worst song ever. The worst rock and roll song ever.
Okay.
We Built This City.
Jefferson Starship.
Which I love Jefferson Airplane.
Right.
I love Jefferson Starship.
Totally understandable.
And I like this song despite the fact that it is so incredibly hypocritical.
The other part is, it is absolutely an earworm.
It is that.
It's one of those you listen to. If I go, we built this city, for the rest of the day, it's going to be running through your head.
We built this city on rock and roll.
It's bad. I'm sorry to do that. That you're just going to be stuck with it for the next 48 to 72 hours. You're just stuck with it.
And, the song pretends to be anti-corporations.
Right.
Because it talks about corporation.
Corporate pop.
Yes, it's corporate pop, and it pretends to be anti-corporation because it's talking about corporations playing corporation games and changing corporation names.
Okay,
but it is an earworm.
Okay, so my last guilty pleasure song. I do not like new country music. And by new country music, if it's not like Johnny Cash or Waylon or Willie or I don't want to hear it. I don't even want to know.
Let me just say this.
Yeah.
I was talking to a girl the other day. She's about 22, and she was telling me the same thing. And I said, yeah. I said, I hate new country music too. I like the old stuff. And she said, yeah, like Carrie Underwood.
No.
She likes the old stuff like Carrie Underwood. And I'm like, that's not old.
Not at all. No, when I say I don't like, I mean, really, it's got to be. I even like some of the country music from the 50s and stuff like that.
Amen.
That were really good. No, this country music song was the biggest song of the year it came out. It was also the biggest song of this great entertainer's career, in my opinion, and it was the biggest crossover hit of the 90s. Now, there were a few good ones that crossed over and were big on everywhere. But there's not a song that can touch Garth Brooks' Friends in Low Places. I know the words to it. If it comes on, I listen to it. I've been known to sing it while drinking. I've been known to sing it while stone sober. It is one of those songs. I'm not proud of it. Let the criticism come. I deserve it. I know I deserve it. I'm here to be flagellated. Friends in Low Places, Garth Brooks, guilty pleasure song.
David Allan Coe, You Never Even Call Me By
Love
My Name.
that song. Love that song.
I was in a bar. I'm not going to say what kind. But I was in a bar with a friend of mine back in the 80s. And a guy came over with a microphone to have me and my buddy sing that song, and I later did it karaoke. I got drunk the day my mom got out of prison.
The funny part about that, it was co-written, although I don't think there's a credit involved. It was co-written by one of my favorite songwriters, John Prine. He actually helped write that song. And anybody who knows John Prine can see his fingerprints on that song. But that's one of those that, quite frankly, you almost have to sing along. If you're of a certain age, and I think I am, and I think you are, if it comes on,
you gotta sing.
You gotta sing. You gotta be involved with that.
Speaking of John Prine, and I can't remember the title of this song.
Well, you sing it, and I'll give you the title.
He has a song. It's a song about, him and his wife, and how they love getting together with this other couple because he likes her and she likes him.
Okay, I don't know that song, but that's a perfect John Prine song.
I'm just like, oh my God, seriously? In Spite of Ourselves is another great John Prine song.
Oh yeah, fantastic John Prine. Well, my favorite John Prine song, I'm not guilty. I don't feel guilty about liking John Prine.
We're past guilty pleasures now.
My favorite John Prine song is Spanish Pipe Dream. The refrain is, blow up your TV. Oh my God, it's a fantastic song. I hope that you can find Spanish Pipe Dream and tag it to the end of this podcast.
I'll do my best.
Awesome. It is such a great...
I'll do my best. My favorite John Prine song, and I don't think he wrote this, but his version of it is awesome. Paradise.
He did write that. And that's where he gets a lot of credit for that. That's a fantastic song.
It's a great song.
It's emotive. It'll make you cry. I mean, if you sit and listen to it, it'll make you cry. That wistful idea of going back in time.
Watched a documentary about the Everly Brothers who had a hit on that tune back in the 60s.
Absolutely.
And the thing that stunned me is the Everly Brothers are talking, and they see themselves as country artists.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I would have said they were rock and roll.
Yeah. And what's funny about that is in the early 50s and in the early days of rock and roll, you had bleed over from R&B to country to rock and roll. They were all kind of amalgamated into this mix of music. What's funny about the Everly Brothers, they're from Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
Their father was
They're from Brownie,
yeah,
of all places.
yeah. Their father was a famous bluegrass artist, which is how they got into music. And it just so happened that's why they have the harmonies they do. It's a very bluegrass type of 2-part harmony that's tight and beautiful and evocative, and they were just great at it, and they wrote great songs, and they were around people with other great songs. Another John Prine song that, it's not my favorite, but it's certainly the one I think most people know of his, is Angel of Montgomery.
I don't know that one. I have to look that
You
one
got
up.
to. It's a great song. It's a really good song. But so here are the things that we've covered in this podcast. Don't watch the movies we've suggested. Don't watch the TV shows we've talked about. Don't listen to the music we've talked about.
No, do watch Ally McBeal.
No, don't watch Ally McBeal. But do listen to John Prine's music.
Yes.
All the time. Don't ever stop. You'll be pleasantly surprised. And eventually, you'll find yourself singing along to some song that you didn't even know was his. It's a great artist. So that's my end on that one. You can take with it what you will.
That concludes this edition of the Improbability Engine.
A name like watermelon. There is not a nicer name in this whole world. People walking down the street and saying, here comes watermelon. It's a wonderful name to have for a boy or a girl. You can't do any wrong with a name like watermelon. Everything you do is right as right can be. I'll write you all a song and I'll sign it watermelon. It's guaranteed to give you happy dreams. Pretty soon people everywhere will start to change their names. Cantaloupe instead of Pam, and maybe Apricot instead of James. Oh, what a groovy world with a name like watermelon. I'd be happy every day, 'cause all my friends would smile and say, good morning, watermelon, how you do? Pretty soon people everywhere will start to change their names. Cantaloupe instead of Pam, and maybe Apricot instead of James.